chance to hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You can hear with some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to the
Good evening,
show.
Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sabrina Speaks. Yes, it is Tuesday, and it is Tuesday, September 23rd, and I'm happy to be back here with you this evening. We all know Sabrina Speaks, Voices of the Islands, Conversations for the World, and the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration takes center stage. I hope that you've been having so far a great Tuesday and, of course, a good afternoon. Today we're going inside the room in this episode where Cayman's future is being shaped through numbers, negotiations, and national priorities. Now, there's a planning finance committee that's scheduled later on this week for Thursday. And I want to encourage everyone to tune in and watch that, because some of the points that were brought up in the last finance committee meeting pretty much was a hangover. And those questions are going to be followed through on. And, you know, we're in the middle of preparing for a 2-year budget, which is why I felt it was important for me to have a show of this nature this afternoon. And let me get my Instagram people going on here. 1 second, just bear with me. And I'm happy we're not having any issues today. Yeah, so far. So we're going to keep all the positive vibes going. But before we get into the nooks and crannies of today, I want to share afternoon blessings with everyone. And this I found, I just pretty much was scrolling through. Be grateful for this quiet afternoon and the chance to pause, reflect, and appreciate the blessings we often overlook. So be thankful for every blessing and have a blessed afternoon. I thought that was so sweet. And I just wanted to share that with each and every one of you. But yes, about the planned upcoming finance committee meeting that's scheduled for this Thursday. I want to encourage everyone to tune in and watch that on the live broadcast there by Parliament that's normally streamed through GIS. Even if you don't get it in real time, I encourage you all to just honestly get informed, tune in, and listen keenly. But because of us into that sensitive time now, where there are questions going to be arised or posed by the opposition to the operational arm of the government about financial management of your money. And remember, the current administration, as I said, is preparing for a 2-year budget. But the real question is, for that budget that they're working on right now, who is the budget for? Is it inclusive or exclusive? Sustainable or short-sighted? Politically driven or people-centric? I want to ask you all to stay with me as you normally do. And should there questions or anything that comes about, please bring them up. I'm not telling you that I know everything, but there's going to be, for this purpose of this show, some thought-provoking questions during this critical time that you should be asking yourself when they're preparing these budgets. So stay with me, because today we're going to be talking about dollars. We're going to talk about the trust and where and if you fit in, really, to be honest. 936-8255, that's 345-936-8255 is the number to call to participate. And as you're always very, very active here, and I appreciate every one of you. The content you're about to hear, including any discussions or opinions from myself, guests, or participants, in this case, it's me, you, and the mic again this evening, but you're always so active, is intended solely for general information and entertainment purposes. It's not for it is not a suitable or substitute for professional legal or medical, even financial advice. So I encourage you to consult with a qualified professional for your specific concerns. Sabrina Speaks disclaims all liability for any decisions or actions taken in reliance on the information presented here. So don't forget to follow, like, share, and subscribe so that you're not missing an episode. Huge viewership last night, and thank you. Obviously, the Cayman Islands needed that. I must say I did very well until the end, because it really hit home. But remember, for you to not miss an episode, we're streaming live wherever you're streaming from right now on all CMRTV.com platforms, Instagram and Facebook page. And also you can find me. Just go in Facebook, Sabrina Turner, you see community activist, click it, follow. And also on Instagram, you look for the @ Sabrina Speaks or the Sabrina Speaks Show. And the channel is right there. So yeah, I'm going to get into some local updates. And of course, all the latest news and headlines you can also find on Cayman Mall Road and CMR TV platforms right there. But let's see who was first. Oh, hi, Miss Barbara G. Good evening to you. Thank you for yesterday letting me know that there was no sound. You were very instrumental. I think I recognized the gentleman's voice too. What am I thinking? He's from the BRAC. But yeah, thank you to everyone who commented here and who called and who stayed with me as we troubleshoot yesterday evening. That meant the world to me. Hi, Connie. Good evening. Yes, I'm feeling much better today. Thank you so much. I think it was just a heavy weekend, and I know that I wasn't alone. So yeah, good evening, Miss J. Again, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for sharing the love and for being back here this evening as well. Hoping that there'll be nuggets of inspiration to share with you. And I'll give you a heads up right now. Tomorrow's show, I'm going to do it now. We are putting the spotlight on real estate. You asked for it and we will deliver. Yes, but I'll be sharing the flyer, giving you teasers and all that sort of stuff. But I got a wonderful Caymanian guest that will be on the show to be able to break it down for us. It's going to be me, her, and you. And she's going to prepare and give us all the insights, but I'll leave it right there. So you got to remember, that's why it's important for you to like, follow, share, and subscribe and tell your friends to tune in, because for all of those aspiring persons who are interested about knowing and understanding the real estate market here in Cayman, that's the show for you tomorrow. And you're hearing it from a Caymanian real estate person to see it from their lens, and hoping we can debunk, give realities to what that life is, and from their lens. And again, we're here to deliver. Hi, Mitzi. It's a pleasure to have you. Hi, Shaq. How are you? Happy Tuesday to you as well, my love. Damien Henry, good evening. And yes, thank you. Thank you so much. But yes, it is, you got to pull yourself out of the rut, because you can't stay there. And I'm going to be honest with you, with the realities that came from yesterday's show, your feedback, your comments, even at the very end, I realized that there is hope, and we got to just stick together. And that is key. And, we're going to do it right here. And we're going to make sure that we give you the space so that you know that this is a safe space. You come here, you speak, you air it, we acknowledge. That's just who we are, and I feel that we're on the right path right here in creating this opportunity for you to be advocates for everyone. And this definitely is that space. So just before we go into the whole topic of today, and again, 936-8255 is the number for you to participate, because this is your space, but to make sure that we keep this show with discussions that is thought-provoking and give you food for thought, and some of the questions that you should be at the back of your mind, not only limiting to here, because that's why we're voices of the islands and conversations for the world. You will understand in the discussions what's happening even regionally, and are we out of the loop? So it's interesting where this conversation can go. But as I was preparing for today's show, I noticed where government made it a post on social media in regards to parking improvements coming soon at Owen Roberts International Airport. I said, thank God. For anybody who has traveled and who want to use or park themselves at the airport, you realize what a disaster that has been recently. And thankfully, they have seen where the need is there. And I'm going to put an image. Here we go. So this is directly from government. We're seeing what's happening. That is nothing. That is nothing compared to what it was in the summer. You know, the Christmas is coming up, and the holiday season. We're going to have persons traveling, and just like persons are going to be coming to our islands. But the article reads that the Cayman Islands on the 18th of September, SEMA. That's not SEMA, the Cayman Islands Airport Authority, CIAE, which operates the Owen Roberts International Airport in Grand Cayman and the Charles Colonel International Airport in Cayman Brac, is pleased to announce that major enhancements to the long-term parking lot at Owen Roberts International Airport are underway. As a part of the CIAE's ongoing efforts to improve travel experience, the long-term parking lot will undergo paving works in several phases. Now, phase one is preparatory, began this past weekend with the closure of the back area of the long-term parking, which is phase one. And I don't have the map here, but if you go onto the government's Facebook page, I'm quite sure you'll be seeing that. But no paving works will be done while vehicles are parked in the area indicated in that first phase. To facilitate these works, all vehicles currently parked for the furthermost section of the long-term parking lot must be removed as soon as possible. For those travelers who are currently parked in that phase one, and off island, upon your return, simply let ground transportation team or one of their security officers know, and they will assist you. Now, during this period, overflow long-term parking will be available in the short-term parking lot, and travelers are encouraged to utilize the curbside drop-off zone wherever possible to reduce congestion. Now, CIAE apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause and sincerely thanks the traveling public for their patience, supports, and understanding as they continue to enhance our airport facilities. So, hey, I hope now that's just a ground. I'm really hoping that at some point we can get like a structure or something where it's covered, or you have the option where it's covered, and don't have to get wet. But it is what it is. Everything takes money, which is why it just goes into today's conversation. But we have come a long way from where we were. I remember the old airport, and as a child with the wooden floor, and when you're walking you could hear that cracking. That was so. And remember the days of the waving gallery, or even going back to the old airport where you could stand by the fence and you could see the people coming off and boarding and all that sort of stuff. Oh my God, how times have changed. But yes, as we continue to grow, you will see these things, and it's a step in the right direction. God knows we needed some improvements there, but this all takes money. And just another update. I noticed as well that over the weekend, we remember that the police conducted a coordinated search in the Prospect area, and looks as though they were in pursuit of a blue Honda Fit that eventually ran into a wall. It pretty much shook up the neighborhood here in Prospect. It is said they updated that this a gentleman from East End, whose identity has not yet been identified, has been arrested today for that, whatever was going on Sunday night. So again, these stories and much more are on CMR, and I'm quite sure all the updates will be given as the information presents itself to us. But yeah, there was a man who fled in the nearby bushes and abandoned what is known as a blue Honda Fit. And so there we go. So this identity will be released. So we can only be vigilant. And if you know anything, contrary to what conversations ensued yesterday, we're still asking you to have faith in them and share what you may know. Good evening, Miss Rose. I'm back with you. It's so nice to have you. The topic this evening, Miss Rose, we're preparing, we're going to go into, I'm encouraging people to tune into the finance committee meeting that is scheduled for this week. And we're going to break down what this means and budgeting, how the government prepares a budget, what should be some of the things that the people of the Cayman Islands should be thinking about. So questions that Caymanians should be asking when this happens, and pretty much what happens if wrong information is pretty much given, and the responsibility of the civil servants in an exercise this big. And we have in the news headlines what happened to BVI's $20 million budget era. Can that happen to us? Era. There was a huge era. So are we immune from that? Just to put it all into perspective. But again, you're encouraged to tune in. You're encouraged to tune in. And call in, and participate 936-8255 and contribute to this discussion. So yes, I'm hoping that you will also don't want to do, okay, no problem. Credit card. Why, Miss Rose? Miss Rose, I'll call you after the show, okay? Cameron, so that wasn't part of the initial plan, or what? The shabby construction and unpaid bill wasn't enough. I don't know, to be honest, Cameron, what was a part of it. It has been so long. Look how much years it took us to get a brand new airport, and then by the time we got it, then it's already outgrown it. Then there was this whole debate about shoots, and then the Cayman experience, and then they're saying it's a dry weather airport. Don't make the rainy season comes, you can't get in and out of the airport without getting wet. Likewise, coming on and off the planes. And based on feedback received from tourists, they like coming off the plane despite it being hot or inclement weather, and actually experience what the weather is like here. So mixed reviews on whether or not we should go for shoots, whether or not that's what we want as a part of our brand here for the Cayman Islands. But being a tropical island, and we know seasonal rains and all that sort of stuff, there can be a lot of inconvenience. We can have delayed flights because of inclement weather, just boarding and deplaning. So, hey, now is the time to discuss it. As I said, they're preparing a budget. So let's see what can happen. Hi, Cesaria. Good afternoon to you, my love. Nostalgia can persuade us anymore. It's in our hearts, and that's where it will stay. We're not making any more excuses for incompetence anymore. Well, that's up to the people, to be honest, and the powers that be for holding persons accountable. But they can't say that you, the public, is not. You got to educate yourself. And I want our people to ask the right questions, be it of your representatives or your leaders, or air them right here. This is the only how we're going to educate ourselves. But you also have to invest in yourselves too, to be honest with you, Cameron. And that is where I feel is lacking. Many a times you have white papers into circulation, you hear about these meetings, you hear questions asked, and unless somebody snips, let's say a reel or something in little small sizes, it's like it's hard for you to process what's going on because you don't have the total picture. And I am trying my best to bring topics here. It will all make sense, as I alluded to yesterday, in time to come. So the mere fact that there is a finance committee meeting scheduled for this Thursday is why I'm having it to break it down, because you will notice the latest finance committee, or the last finance committee meeting, the government had revised its forecasts dramatically. And forecasting is key. And I'm hoping to demystify some of those myths around forecasting and budgeting here. And what had happened, that its forecast dramatically had changed from 54.7 million surplus to a 60 million deficit. OMG. Then back to a possible break even. So it's like, where are we? Where are we? And then you realize then that our civil service hiring freeze, it's in the public's domain that 11 million was saved. And then we have that Cayman Airways received 30 million. Radio Cayman in the past have gotten 2.6 million for expansion. And then what keeps looming over all of this is the Auditor General's warnings, the Auditor General warning of long-term financial risks. And yet, you, the public, remain in the dark. Now, having shows like this, I can only do it high level. Do you deserve more? Yes, you do. Where is that? Where is that space? And which is why I'm scratching the surface, bringing up these topics, because many a times I am seeing the public is either misled very easily by whoever gets the first word out, gets on a let us say a platform and just throw out numbers, whole heap of beautiful graphs, and you're still not understanding it. So being able to bring it in bite-sized pieces like this, asking for you to participate, to bring up the discussions. And of course, anyone who's in the financial industry, if you're in tune today, you're welcome. You don't have to be given any secrets or anything, but just break it down. I do not like the term, it takes a village, if we're not using this space in order to empower, educate, and provoke thought-provoking discussions. We can no longer remain in the dark. But what is a reality is that the Auditor General has warned numerous times of long-term financial risks. There have also been headlines is that we're spending more than we're making. And then when you see this up, down, 1 minute we're in a deficit, and then all of a sudden we're breaking even. Where is it? Would we ever know? So what does that mean for you? Because we're all, even though we don't have income tax, property tax, we all pay some kind of tax. But what does it mean for every Caymanian, be it a parent, entrepreneur, even students? And I'm hoping by way of the discussion that we're about to have here today, that it will shed some light and give thought-provoking questions for you to even ponder over or ask your representatives. Cameron, you're very active today, and I like that. Let's see what you got here, because I'm going to keep going back so I can keep up with you. MPs work on our behalf, not for us. Yeah, but if you're not asking them the questions, Cameron, if we're not having discussions like this, then they sell you whatever you think you want to hear. And that's why we're having conversations like this. Who our MPs working for is who we need to direct our woes to. Yep. Could be another conversation. Thanks for that. At least you are reading our messages and are doing a good job. Oh, thank you. Okay. Are not paying seniors any mind, and they're talking is the young generation. Oh, and all they're talking of is the young generation. Miss Rose, we're going to be all inclusive here. And I've been given some other suggestions in regards to how seniors are treated. And there's a call of action for the older persons. Please do not think that I'm being rude. There's an older persons council that are supposed to be advocates and advocating for legislation change. And there's a suggestion for me to do a show on that. Now, please note that council fell under the Minister of Health and Wellness, yours truly. And I can let you know that I met with that council at least 3 times during my time. There were a number of action items that were taken away that had to be done. But some of the suggestions and recommendations from the council during my time, again, would have required a multi-intergovernment agency approach. What does that mean? It means that there were other government departments, even though the council fell under me as Minister of Health. Some of the recommendations, if not the majority of them, required the collaboration and cooperation of other ministries because their departments and the legislation overarched in other laws that would have been impacted by some of the recommendations. So what you do then as a minister, getting those marching orders, acknowledging the action items of what the council is advocating on the best interests for our seniors, is that those recommendations are then given to your senior policy team, the operational arm of government. They go away. They actually meet with the other departments that is a part of actually executing the recommendations, seeing what laws could be implemented, what laws could be revised or given more attention or teeth. And then they're supposed to come back with results of their findings in a collaborative report to the minister, and sometimes go back to the council to see if that meets exactly what was requested in order to improve the lives with dignity of our seniors. You hear all of that? 99% of the time, the minister is not in it because that's the operational workings. Unless the minister then goes back and constantly, and usually you have weekly updates, asking, when am I going to get feedback? Or when is there going to be any update on the Older Persons Act or vice versa? You get told, oh, it's still in working. Oh, this department, we're waiting on their feedback. And that's how it is. That's as far as your minister can go. Are you understanding what I'm saying? That's as far as your minister can go. And then you keep following up, and you have a representative from the ministry that goes to the Older Persons Council as an ex officio member, meaning they do not, yeah, Cameron, you got it right, I see you. But all this time, you all, the voters, unaware of the processes, is saying, what a waste of time of a minister. We're getting blamed. Hence, it's good to have outlets like this, or to have an office where you can explain it and have quarterly meetings. But then some may be fearful of saying why it's taken so long because they don't want to upset the team, their ministry team. And then many times, because you are obligated to work for the people, as you alluded to, Cameron, you get then accused of political interference. So that long explanation just tells you what it takes in order for you to follow the recommendations or even consider the recommendations from, in this case, the Older Persons Council. I went there, Miss Rose, and to you, my audience, because there has been an axe to highlight some of the unscrupulous behaviors of persons and how some of our seniors are being treated. So I don't mind bringing a show. And we have one or two persons that are willing to be testimonials to come on and to actually air their concerns. But should there be any member of the Older Persons Council that feels that they feel as though they're overlooked, or that it doesn't make any sense to advocate because they send it up meaning to the ministry, and nothing gets done, I'm hoping that has not and does not continue anymore. And this is why it is important for me to have a space like this and not be selfish to educate you. But yes, there is a lot of bureaucracy, to be honest. And many a times it's multi-agency government departments that is working along. And sometimes, you know what? Even though the council in this case may fall under the Minister of Health, you will have them deciding, well, who's going to take lead? Yeah, who's going to take lead? And then each government department that trying to actually take charge or is involved, then you got to hope that they appoint a lead person and hope that they don't go on vacation, because then the wheels stop moving. Good evening, caller, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks.
Good evening. You almost say what I was going to say.
What did
when they appoint someone. Because they need to appoint someone. But, going back from Jim Borden and Miss Anna Holder and Mr. Truman Borden and Miss Linford years and days, they had more say and they
Mm-hmm.
could do much more. You know, and they changed it because they say they had too much power. So they've changed it now to where you all don't hardly have any power.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you got to find a middle ground that it could work for the people, because sometimes it's just too much personalities, too much personal things go on in between the representatives. And the next problem we have is, like you said, like NAU is not with HSA. You would think that that's
Or
the
under the
same.
Ministry of Health. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, under the Minister of Health, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So then when you have an issue, instead of going to the Ministry of Health, you have to go to another department. That is a little bit sort of frustrating, because the next one go, well, he didn't do that. I don't have nothing to do with that. And everybody just sort of kick the ball further down the road. In that time, there are people that's suffering
Mm-hmm.
because of this,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't get anything done because they're there and they're saying it's the MPs, and it's not the MP. The MP can't touch it.
Mm-hmm.
So somehow, somewhere, I think that it needs to be more power somehow. I mean, if I'm wrong, the MPs, that they could call a meeting and say, listen, we have complaint from the public that's saying they've been trying to get to Miami. They have a tumor and it needs to take care. And are you saying it's from the health department? Health is saying no. And you know, we need to come in and we need to find out what's going on with this person.
Mm-hmm.
I somehow feels that there needs to be some more power given, maybe not as much as used to be, because you know that's why we have so much people with residents now, because somebody could just get up and say, listen, keep on residents, you know, and so forth. So we want that. It's not a call for every fool that they could just do as they want, because sometimes power makes people foolish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when they know what they could do. And they might want to achieve something for one person, but they have to do it like it's for 20 persons, because they don't want it obvious that you're doing it for one person. And a lot of times they make law based on that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the laws is based on personal things that people want to accomplish for a family, friend, somebody, and
Mm-hmm.
then it affects everybody.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to really get strong people, people that are not hungry, people that are not bottled, people that are not weak-minded, people that will take a stand regardless of what it is, because they put their people first.
Mm-hmm.
And the people needs to truly look and believe in who they believe in and see what that person is saying. Even if you like somebody, I like people, but I wouldn't do business with some people. I
Mm-hmm.
see and I hear and I understand, and I love them dearly.
Mm-hmm.
But because I see how they do business, it's not going to work with me and them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I doing 90% of the business and you're doing 10 and you still want the same 50, that's not going to work unless you had put in more than I did.
Right.
So sometimes you have to make a call to say it's not worth it. But I think somehow that they have to have councils. If the MPs can't say or do anything, they have to have a council that people can go to, and they're the middle person for the community, for the residents, right? For the people, because the people really be lost. The people, what it does, they run the people up now from one department to another department till they get tired and they give up.
Mm-hmm.
And I somehow feels like
Almost frustrating the system. Mm-hmm.
yes, and I feel like sometimes that's the intention. So they bounce the ball around, and some of the people don't have the strength to go on, and they just go and they become so quiet and they come withdrawn, and they don't want to vote when the time comes. They don't want to hear nothing about the government. They don't want to see nobody because of the
And
experiences.
they're
And then we
frustrated.
get less. Yes, they are frustrated. So we get less and less voters each time because of the frustration of people. They're like, the last one did me the same thing. But yet, the problem is sometimes it's the system that's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You have some people that works and some that don't work. But for the people that work sometime as an MP, sometimes the system is what really make them look like they're not working. Another thing is that a lot of time, if a government starts something, let's say you decide you're going to do all of the roads in Prospect, and you actually brought it to cabinet before you were out of cabinet, and it was approved. Okay, and it started, but or it didn't start. When you were gone and they elect somebody else, just because they don't want your work to be seen, because you might have said this in your constituency, in your meetings, then they uproar that. That's wasted money again. And I think a lot of money has been wasted in Cayman with that. Just because another government started it, the next one beat it down. If it is something good for the country, if the money is worth spending, do it, regardless to who is going to get
the praise or no accolades for starting something.
Exactly.
It's for the people, and this
Thank
is
you.
what we
Thank
understand.
you.
That's why it's important, caller, for us to even say, okay, fine, they're doing a budget, but the budget priorities are who? What sectors are being prioritized? Is
Right.
it people centric, as I stated? Is it politically motivated? Is it, you got to make sure that is your money that they're doing, that they're actually trying to divvy up, and remaining silent now and not asking the right questions we're flying blind. And then you're feeling that you're left out. You're feeling that you're left out. So this is why you should be asking some of these questions, to be honest.
That's right.
And this is why people need to tune into some of these finance committee meetings, and so that you can connect the dots. You're just not hearing it in bits and pieces. I know not everybody has the time to tune in to listen, because if you're not accustomed to it, then some people may find it boring. I will do my best to break it down, but I need you to also help me by helping yourself.
That's right. And the next problem, we might find it boring, but when it come back and kick us in our butt, then we're making nice. So sometimes, even though I find things boring, but because I understand the essence,
the implications and the implications it could have.
Yes, I decide, okay, let me get involved. And we're too small. We're too small not to get involved. And we're minority. We need to, as Caymanians, get involved. That was before, but now we need to. They need to go back that, they have this thing that people can't build their homes like they used to. Listen, the people suffering, right? And I think that it should be able to go back. That if people need to build a home and they got a little piece of land, once it's passed, that the people can get it passed properly. They have a plumber that has a license, they have an electrician that has a license, and they want to come and help these people. I think that is something for poor people that we need back, because they had more homes back then, because on a Friday, Mr. Blinken will come in and help, and Mr. Ebanks will come in, William will come, and he'll give you, and people gather together. And if people got a home, you got people that have a piece of land,
right,
and they can't do anything with land for years, right? And they're gonna talk, you're gonna get all of this. One of these contractors alone, he looking 100,000 out of it. That start build yet.
I remember
start do anything yet.
I remember a caller last week said that they're lucky enough that their father is a contractor, but when they looked at the amount of steel that they had to put in an addition was more than what they had put in their entire house built, maybe and don't quote me, maybe 5 or 8 years earlier. And these were all the recommendations made by planning in order for this new way. And they're saying it was not called for in many cases. So who are they making these changes for? That goes right back to your point. It goes right back to your point. Exactly. Poor people can no longer afford it.
They can't. And guess what? This is what caused crime. This is what caused mental illness. This is what caused so much frustration. This is why sometimes I say, do it make sense? Because when they see how others are suffering, sometimes they even have a better job than them, and they have so much, and they can't reach anyway. They give up. They don't even start. They give up hope. We need to give the people hope. That's what the government needs, and that's what the government is there for. And that's why we elect them, to give the people hope. And if you got to go sometime even for a select, like, okay, you might know that a community, in a certain community, that you got to do something different. Just like even in other countries, if you live in Beverly Hills, it's going to be a different thing from if you live down in
The
Miami and
needs are going to be different. Totally, totally.
yes, yes. So they need I don't know, put boundaries between, I don't know, I don't want to say, well, Caymanians, but against people that can afford what they can afford and who cannot afford. We shouldn't be the poor Caymanians that's making $10 an hour shouldn't be expected to pay the same as a man that got 15, 20 billions and making $1 trillion. Yeah.
Bet you
No,
pretty much
I
measured
mean,
on the same scale. Remember that came up.
yeah,
That came up before
yeah,
this last administration, and the real estate market was not for that because uh, I'm going based off of memory. It was in regards to, I think, the 7 Mile corridor, where any purchases of property within that area that the stamp duty would have been a certain, would be higher. And then the differential of that money is being made for wherever would be categorized as what you're alluding to would go back into, let's say, education as set it to offset then
yeah.
some of the medical costs for indigents and all this sort of stuff, which is why, again, preparing for the budget is equity and inclusion at the forefront of when they're doing these numbers. Will this serve caller? And it goes right back to what you're saying, which is why it's funny you're saying this, because this was all part of the discussion for today. Whether or not this budget that they're doing right now will serve the haves or the have-nots, or will it even include the vulnerable groups like our indigent or youth and small business owners? Are they even being considered? And how do you even know this? Because some people are saying, I can't even find my MP because, they're in meeting, they're preparing for budget. How are you going to ask your MP whether or not the exercise that they're doing is how equitable, how is it being measured, and asking for what information they're using for? These are all sound questions. They may not want to hear it now because I know what that process is like. And it takes a lot of brain power. But what I'm saying is, you empower your people. They do not say you're missing in action if you remain connected.
Listen, they know how to walk to your door when they're looking at vote. They know how to get people to come to interact with you. They know how people call and check on you. They need to do the same thing if that's what they need to do. If they can't get a call the time, use those same people that they used before, or create a council or whatever they need to do. But they need to get it right, because the people don't have the time they had before. Some of these people are up in their 60s, paying rent because they have a piece of land, some of them, and they still can't build on this place. And then the budget homes, you want to see them certain places, you're not seeing them everywhere, and this is the next thing that we needs to be across the board. I mean, it's beautiful that it's happened, but it needs to be something across the board. Another thing that we find is that those people that are here from other countries like America, right? They still got to be paying their taxes according to them. That's the reason they come to the island.
Right.
Sometimes they give up. They give up their passports, denounce their citizenship, but to get rid of the tax. What the government needs to do, you used to pay 7%. You need to get 3%. You're now a Caymanian, and we have allowed you to elude taxes. We need 3% of what you're making. We need that here for our locals, because that's why some of them denounce their citizenship. They don't denounce it because they don't want to be American. They denounce because they don't want to pay Uncle
Taxes.
Sam his money.
Yeah.
Yes. So then what you need to do, you need to give Cayman something, because we have allowed you to become rich, a lot of you, or either bring your riches and now you're keeping it all. Yeah, we got people here that are suffering, and it's not because some is lazy. Some of them has been working all their life, but because we got so much against us, it's hard to make it. You know, it's hard. And then sometimes they don't have the family because they're all in the same boat. The only thing keep them is that sometimes love in the family, keep them together. But sometimes they're in the same boat. So one can't help one. You understand? And we need help. And this is why I can't be at my glass house, Oh, because guess what? One day When all of them out there, they start throwing the stone, they're going to break my house. So we, as the people, need to look out for our people. Even people that's not MPs, we need to start fighting for the less vulnerable, or, the one that
Or
can't
more
speak.
vulnerable
We got
people.
some that can't.
Mhm.
Yes, some that can't read and write, some that don't understand where they're going to trick them. We others that have sense need to go and say, listen, and talk to them. And don't wait till election when we get it done before election. We get it done before they're coming back with all of these stories again. Yeah, that people is prepared for them, to ask them questions, to see, what they have done. And this is what we need. We're too small, and if we don't do something, I'm sorry, I don't know where we're going to end up.
Well, what
And
would
it
you
doesn't
say?
look good.
What would you say that we're not, to those persons who may be hearing this discussion now and thinking that we're just not giving them enough time?
Well, listen, this is the next thing. We're giving them time. And I said with your government, and not because I was with you. I said with your government, that was the shortest government in history. You all really got 2 years and not 4. In 4 years, you will not see the true picture of what you want to produce, because you know how quick the time goes. But you will get a good idea of what the person is doing within the 4 years. If you see the person is striving, give them a continuation. And the next thing they should stop, the government should make some law that if you went in and you decide the school is a good thing, the budget is right, the people agree, and so forth, and not to waste the people money. The law, there's somewhere that it needs to come. Okay, in case Sabrina doesn't get back in, we're safeguarding this, the plan that she's passed already is good for the country. The people likes it. It's not about Sabrina not looking good. It's about the people. Something needs to be put in place like that, because a lot of time this is wasted money, right? Wasted, and then they come back after years ago with the same plan that Sabrina had, and they put it in motion, and it was Sabrina plan from time. But if they had did a continuation when Sabrina had first left, they would have known that that was Sabrina plan. So what they do, they stop the plan, they keep it in the back of their minds, and they start and they do something else. Then people forget, because we human beings forget word quickly. And then the next couple of years, 2 or 3 years, they bring back Sabrina plan, the same one. How much money has been wasted in between Sabrina plan that should have been a continuation that it was not? How much money was wasted?
But
We-
how the budget cycles now are going, each term consists of 4 years.
Yes.
And they used to do budget every year. And it's a long and tedious, I still feel, working smarter, not harder. Okay. They now do it in 2 cycles, 2 tranches. So what they're working on now is a budget to take them through the year 2026 and the year 2027. So let's say whatever monies is allocated for 2026 financial year, whatever monies is not used or used, that automatically rolls into 2027. You see, at the end of 2027, all of the monies, like the slate is wiped clean. If you didn't use it, this is the mantra that they have in there, you lose it and you go back to a whole new drawing table again. Now that budget cycle at the end of 2027, because remember, 27 to 28, 28 to 29, that's an election year.
Yes.
The second, you see where I'm going now?
Yeah.
That budget is critical, because unless something happens and the next election, let's say then in 2029 changes, but if it's April, whatever monies is given for 2028 to 2029 or 27 to 28, that this sitting government is going to have to deliver on whatever it is their promise, bearing in mind what they're working on right now will go back to zero at the end of 2028. No, at the end of 2027. Because it's a 4-year term. So what they're working on now, how the government is currently operating is on whatever leftover monies, or should they go to finance committee and they need more money for shortfalls on the school, for medical, for indigents, for seafarers, for whatever it is, right? Whatever additional monies they need to take them to the end of this year, the 31st of December, they're primarily operating on the budget that was from the previous administration, okay? So what
Right.
they're working on now is for them to deliver on their political promise. Their monies only start based on what this budget that they're doing now, with the realities of geopolitics, the unforeseen circumstances of natural disasters. You see what's happening in the world. You see inflation, you see cost of
Yeah.
living, and the people,
Yeah.
you still have to take care of your people. And then you got to be careful of overspending the big capital projects and what mistakes may have been made. We don't know. And you still have to honor the needs of the people. So
Yeah.
as of January 1st, let me take it back one day. As of 31st of December, 2025, it goes back to zero. Because on the 1st of January, 2026, that is the budget now that this administration would have fought for their own. All of those cabinet ministers are in there now presenting what they feel that will align with the will of the people, the need of the people. And this is why this conversation is key. Is it political or people-centric planning?
But wouldn't you think that? I think on a yearly basis, because you know life is unpredictable and things changes, and I think sometimes we could budget too far ahead. Wouldn't you say that shorter budgets would be better?
That is what they moved from, and it just is a lot time consuming. Caller, the key to this is proper forecasting. And if you get the forecasting wrong, which means your MPs are totally relying on whatever information is being given to them by the head of
That's right.
finance, Mr. Kenneth Jefferson. And if they are planning the road map to deliver for the people, the numbers that they are given from finance is critical. That then goes into what happened with the British Virgin Islands. Okay, just give me a minute.
Right.
Because what happened over there in the BVI should make all of us, to be honest, sit up and pay attention. What happened, and if you didn't know, the BVI government recently discovered it was a massive budget miscalculation. They had budget like something like 11.7 million. Hold on, let me pull it up here. They had budget something like $11.7 million. And what had happened was for the public, okay, here it is. They had budget 11.7 million for public officer salary increases, what we would call here a COLA, right? But the real cost, what was the real cost, right? Over $25 million. That's a 13.3 million shortfall. And here's the kicker, caller. That wasn't a political decision. It was actually a civil service error. And the people of that jurisdiction is going crazy, blaming the politicians. The figures that were provided, the figures that were provided to the elected officials were wrong. And now they're pretty much in Parliament coming after one another, trying to explain to their constituents it was a huge error. But yet, the people are holding them accountable to say, you guys are a waste of time. We know what we're going to do with you about holding the politicians accountable, and rightly so. But if an MP messes up, you vote them out. But what happens when a mistake like that comes from the operational arm from government? Remember, civil servants aren't elected. They're appointed. And that's in breach of Section 55. But are heads going to roll?
But you see, I think you have to have a segment for them to understand. I mean, not just one. I think you have to continuation for you to explain how much power the government, like the what you call the lady now. Oh gosh,
Who?
the chief officers in them have, right?
Okay.
You need to explain like that for them that they could understand. A lot of times, your hands is tied much less that you're waiting on the chief officer. You can give them assignment and they can hold up on that. They can say they're waiting on this and that. So I think you need to educate the people because when the people are not, it's like if I go to school and I can't I go let's say I go English, but I never learned to read.
Yeah.
It don't matter that I went to English. I didn't learn to read. So for that reason, if you say, "Oh, read this," and I can't, but you went to school. Yeah, I went to school, but I can't read. It's the same thing
Yeah, but then
with us.
caller, it goes back to this. I may not have been an accountant, but I know 1 + 1 = 2. So then I'm totally
Yeah,
reliant and depending on the information and the numbers, in this case, that civil servants presented to myself. And then we're getting this
yeah,
big list of things to read out to present on the floor of Parliament. Who verifies those numbers of civil servants
yeah,
presenting, right? And
y-
then even as elected officials, are elected officials being briefed with the full context or even just summaries? You ask the right questions sometimes and you're sent almost down in rabbit holes. And unless you've been in one of those situations, it's hard to really fathom or to even understand what I'm trying to say because
that's why
it
I'm
is
telling
an
you.
exercise.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. You got to explain how much power and how much an MP relies on the chief officer. And a
And the
lot of time, what
financial
is read,
secretary. And the,
right,
yeah.
and the financial, yes. So that's what I'm trying to tell you that you have to educate the people how the arrow can fall as if it's an MP. But if they give you the documentation to read, you're trusting that they did all of the maths and put it together, and they'll given you after the financial and them and everybody get together, they're giving you documents to go and read in Parliament.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then when you go and read them in Parliament,
Mm-hmm.
it's because it's a trust that you have with your chief officer, the financial director, and everybody.
But then
So
that's in
that's
the
the
Hansards for eternity. And then if it is an error during the time before the next sitting of the parliament, the country, the voters are beating you for delivering
yeah,
foolishness.
yeah, yes. Well, they don't understand, and this is why I say you have to have segments to let them understand how much power that a government has, and the transition between the government and the MP. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you need to have a segment on that, and maybe that's your purpose to help educate others, and one can tell one because everybody's not going to be in the program, but when somebody understand, and we need to do it the grassroots. We need to tell it as we can tell it. For the child to understand, right? Because the next thing, some you go on to some of the government sites and some of the people can't understand section, da la la, blah blah blah, and that's all. And they
Well,
don't explain what
what are
section
you doing, caller?
is. But
Because there's a lot of background noise for you right now. Whatever you're doing has changed.
I no,
Okay,
these little mongrels make nice.
stop doing that.
But they are. They're out there barking.
Oh
But
God.
um, but that is what that's what I want you to do for the people. That
Uh-huh.
let's statute 21. They just put it there, right? And the people don't know what statute 21 means.
Mm-hmm.
So when you can break down what statute 21
Or
means, the people
yeah.
can understand.
Mm-hmm.
You understand much better. But they do that sometimes because they want to keep the people foolish too. Yeah. And they'll say, yeah, we put it out there. GIS put it out there. And you didn't have to get it from Malro, or you didn't have to get it from Sabrina Speak. We put it
Mm-hmm.
out there. Yeah, you put it out there with statute 21. What does statute 21 mean? Does everybody gonna go and dig up what statute 21 mean? Did you explain it?
Mm-hmm.
No. So this is why I say that you could do it in segments for people to understand and they'll be ready. You know what I mean? You could get people ready. And I think that you have the ability too. I know how smart you are. You know, I've been around with you. You explain things and I understood. That's why today I too can sometimes hold a conversation because I too didn't know.
Hmm.
But I learned based on what you said.
I could be
And
honest
when I
with you,
said, well,
though.
why?
I could be honest with you, though, caller, not to cut you. I was shocked at how um, misinformed or uninformed the public was as it pertains to the processes and the working arm of your government. And
Yes,
even though what this
yes,
platform, what I may share, will actually lighten the load of the elected arm, because by me
yes,
educating the public,
yes,
they will
yes,
understand it. I'm actually
yes.
lightening the load for those sitting there.
You are.
That's by no
You are.
means taking sides or throwing anybody under the bus.
No.
But what we cannot allow to happen is person taking platforms like this, shooting off their mouth from a an uninformed perspective and blaming the wrong people. Blame is only part of it. You understand? You can have, in my humble opinion, a better discussion, better dialogue when both parties have some semblance of understanding of the inner workings.
Well, this is what I'm
Therefore, you're
saying to
able
you.
to
This is
hold the right persons accountable because,
person accountable.
yes, because
Yes.
what happened in BVI right now, I'm telling you, that $20 million dollar error wasn't a budgeting mistake. What it is resulting, it has led now to a breakdown in trust between the elected arms and the operational arm of the civil service because of the backlash that they're getting from the public.
Okay. I'm going to take this somewhere else, but just to show you how, when you're misinforming, you don't understand. Because I've been in the telecom business for 25 years, right? So when Digicel was coming in, and I said to Flo, because I used to do a lot of work for Flo, I said to Flo, it's not a better network that's coming in because you're still using your network. You
Mhm.
need to go there and talk to the people. I was telling them. I say you need to explain to the people what it is. You need to explain that it's no more programming. The IME, it's now going to be a chip. So when you got to program a phone, that
Mhm.
phone just take 2 to 3 hours. Sometime more. You got to put everything by your hands. Now a chip has on all your information. Boom, you push it in
Everything.
because the everything. So it changed the technology completely, but they didn't go out. So when Digicel came in, sure, we had a better and bigger network. And they waited until the perfect time. They waited until they know that the SIM was coming in and the time was just right. They waited and they came in and they took the market over,
Mhm.
dominated the market that was there. And if Flo had did it and explained that, okay, people say Flo is a thief, but do you realize it was them that paved the way, the
Yeah. All
mountains,
the
they had to dig up,
infrastructures
they had to dig
is them.
in the
Mhm.
structures, everything was them. So the way has been paved
Give
based
Caesar
on
what
them.
is due to
When
Caesar. Mhm.
Thank you. When you come in the market to play and you got 150 players, and when you come in and find me, I got 4,500. Look how much I'm paying to what you got to pay. They got to pay 15 workers, and I got to pay 400 workers, just or whatever. Because I know at that time I think it was 4,500 people was employed with Flo, which was cable and wireless. And I think when Digicel came in, they came in with 150 people. You know what's the difference? To
Mhm.
pay 4,500
Huge.
people per month
Overheads alone.
compared to 150 people, compared to I could get a little office because all I got to do is pop up a SIM card and put it in. How can it be a better network if I'm on your network? But they didn't do that. So this is the same thing, right? What is the saying? For the lack of knowledge, people
In the
perish.
parish.
And it's
Mhm.
true. Yes. So what I'm saying now, you knows and you understand. And God give us all a gift, God give us a purpose. Now your purpose is to educate people that they could say, wow, wow, didn't know this is how it works. And that way they will vote more responsible. They would vote right. They will question the right people. So it's like a step.
Mhm.
Different steps will be taking place because they understand. So
Mm.
they'll know where to turn to. They'll know when they're frustrated where to go. Don't give up. People do not give up. When you want something, make them tired to see your face. Make them tired to see your face that they're going to help you or they're going to send you to the right place because it's too much misadvantage taken over the people in the little island. Too much.
Mhm.
And they don't care. And it's nobody. They want to see them when he wants the votes and and everything. And everybody's so nice. Once they do that, God help them.
Mhm.
Thank you for being the
Thank you.
MP you were. And you was an awesome MP. You didn't hide. You came in to work sometime when you were going to Parliament or you were going 7 o'clock to meet people, and people will hear and know that's true. 6 o'clock in the morning. You will come in at nights after 7 or 8 o'clock in the night to meet with people. How many have done that? But your purpose wasn't to go back. Your purpose is right where you are. God bless you. Keep strong, my sister.
Thank you. Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution. Yes, going to
You're welcome.
thanks. Cameron had a comment. How many Caymanians been following the happenings in the British Virgin Islands that led up to their mix-up? I don't know, Cameron, but I tell you what, it's all over social media, and I'm quite sure people are scrolling. And if they are a BOTC, a British Overseas Territories, just like ourselves, and it was applicable to this conversation today, to be honest. So hence it surfaced in this discussion. Our system is set in Cayman. We need to pay attention to what is happening in other Caribbean neighbors that has sites to use Caymanians for their own interests. We can also avoid mistakes as well, Cameron. So it goes both ways, in my humble opinion. We know that there's heroes, National Heroes Day. They're doing an appeal, and I'm going to play a short commercial here to let you know, because many times we get those happenings where persons are nominating or Heroes Day come and you're saying, well, why was this person missed out? Here's a intro, a commercial to let you know how you can get involved.
Infrastructure is more than roads and buildings.
It's our lifelines connecting East End to West Bay, Cayman to Little Cayman, and the Cayman Islands to the world.
It established the route to get our children to school, keep our hospitals powered, and support our businesses every day.
Through hard work, ingenuity, and perseverance, people make that happen.
From the early pioneers who paved the first paths and laid the first pipes,
to the innovators who modernize water, energy, telecoms, ports, and our airport.
they're the quiet hands that build resilience.
And the vision that keeps Cayman going strong.
Now it's our turn to recognize them. Know someone who built, maintained, or improved the Cayman Islands we love?
Nominate them today at gov.ky/YSCH. Click Nominate Today.
And there you have it, Cayman. So there should be no excuses as to those persons in that area. There's another video as well as to how to do it and some more information. I'll play that later on. But yes, Cameron, you're very, very active today. And thank you so much. What are you saying here? Things is happening in Trinidad too. Keep a close eye on them too, yeah? Oh, yeah. I think, Cameron, to be honest, in the entire Caribbean, we need to keep our eyes wide open. I have said it many a times on this platform, not to fearmonger, not to cause any alarm, but you would actually look at it from that perspective if you are not informed. And because of where we are located geographically, in proximity to Cuba, in proximity to Haiti, in proximity to Jamaica, in proximity to the United States, I really feel that it's a false sense of security because we're a British overseas territory jurisdiction. And I'll say this, proximity matters. The mere fact that there's such a strong presence right now of United States military in our Caribbean waters, because what is happening further northeast or southeast of us should cause for concern. And that's a whole different show, which I tell and I got bring it on national security. Let's go to this caller. Good evening, caller, and welcome. You're live.
Mom, I don't want to hurry up. No, Freddie, what I say, yes.
What happened?
We be keeping our eyes on Caribbean countries more, but people are more interested in Trump. They're not worrying about what's going on right almost in our back doors. They're worrying about Trump.
Mm-hmm.
They need attention more. I never called for that.
Okay, what you called about? Tell me what you
I
called
about what Miss Joyce Ann was saying, because I said it yesterday again, and I'm going to rub it in again, like she said about the people. And I'm going to just give a little instant of what I was listening to last night going on in Jamaica. And I hope nobody do come on bashing me, but the people...
Speak your mind, caller. Speak your mind.
I guess you watch and saw how the thing went on in Portland, the parish of Portland, right? How they were all, everybody up on their high horses because Anne-Marie was never get back in. And
Isaac Buchanan, he overthrew her. Mm-hmm.
Listen to this. This is what a girl is saying. And I agree because, like I say, I got a lot of Jamaica friends in different places. And okay, Portland is a parish. They got different little towns, just like parts of Honduras. But why, yes, I agree, she might be did a lot for some parts. But there were other parts that were neglected. And this is what I don't understand. If you're going to do for the Portland, do for everybody. They say, well, good for the goose, good for the gander. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But apparently she did a lot, but it were more in certain places that she never even touched. Mm-hmm. And then this is what a girl was saying when they called in the people of Portland, illiterate and stupid and whatever. She said, listen, she did. She's not going to be ungrateful and say that she never done some stuff. But she could have done more. But that's what she was elected for, to take care of her constituency, where she was running for, because that's where they vote for her. And then another thing she pointed out, what she did for that parish wasn't out of her pocket. That was their money, taxpayers' money, that she was only giving back some of what they collect out of the poor people, which I agree with her.
Mm-hmm.
So she wasn't paying that out of her pocket. Now that wasn't coming out of, like, say, whatever salary she made. That was their money.
Mm-hmm.
So they wasn't agree with what she did, and they voted her out because they wanted better.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the same thing I tell you with him. And like I said, I could put plenty things up, but my dog, you want me on this ways putting out. But
they got you on the manners.
But I tell her the other day, I said, this is look like the only how we can get help when I put it, not you, on Sandra. Because they look like they be afraid, because things that were offered to us, if it now 3 years gone, it's more and all now, and up to now, I know they had some problem, and they kind of ramping up. That's why I felt how I felt yesterday on it. And then they leave me so long now that we have a problem. And then, like that girl say, years ago, things didn't cost nothing, but it cost more now, and we can't do it. And all now, then I look at me, and after I was supposed to call back today because I called after last week because somebody was telling me, keeping on. Your husband deserves it. They say he on priority list. They had 3 people on priority list for what they were going to do. And I said, well, good thing he won priority. I don't know who the other 2 people was, but that's what they told me. 3 people won priority list, and he was one of them. Imagine if he won the bottom. We would get drunk. We would never come up to surface. The ones on top. So this is where
priorities list for the NHGT housing, or for what? I want to make sure I follow you.
Windows.
Okay.
Stop in windows.
Okay.
That's what they promised us.
Okay.
But I know that they had problems with that guy. But I understand they're doing it again, and now we have a leak. We got leak. We're going to get bigger damage. They promised him, we fill out the application for house, starting windows, since I got put it out. And it at the place up there, the green building by White House, because when my daughter come, we went and checked. And she said that the application is there, because we fill everything and put it in. And they said, they send 2 people. I can call me, and they send Madge Miller, son Jimmy Miller, to do an estimate. And they send one guy, I can't remember what he said, his name was Brown. And that's all we heard. And this is why I'm telling you. Now, everybody that in charge of this apparently know, because it went from Glass House, because they got me in contact with somebody from Africa that got put the shit up. And they be in contact with me. And they send an email to this one, an email to that one, an email to the next one. And oh, no, nobody not call me. They not come and look. Then they speak to my MLA about it. And he said, because we called him, because we were even asking. We don't have the money, but we were asking if we could borrow something and pay back X, Y, and Z, because we're not beggars. But like I tell you, we can't. And my husband was deputy fire chief. He put in 31 long years. They retired him on the medical, December 2002. And Mr. Nixon told me, when he told us in out to one graveyard, he said he didn't realize the asset he was till the day they lost him. And he said why he didn't retire before he did, because of Billy Ray Graham Martinez was not there to be the fire chief. The service was to go to shambles. And you and Caymanians and me, and you see they had 2 Englishmen that fighting. And all of them boys that still out there, like I tell you, the older ones, because nearly all the older ones he was who hired, because Mr. Nixon was the chief, but Billy Ray was the one used to do the job. He was the one used to do the interviews for jobs and stuff. And when he take it into him, he tell him, use your discretion. Whatever you do is fine with me. And this is from the horse's mouth. This not no hearsay or they say. And all of them guys say, he is their deputy chief. They don't care how many new ones they get. He is the man. The ones that appreciate him. And what he did, he took young Caymanians off of the street from one that was looking for the debt in jail. And he said, these are the people that you got to give a chance for. Like, I'm not going to go to all of this, but one that he used to be coming up. You hire this one, he's on dog sitting. You hire this one, he's from this way. And he tell him one day, listen to me. Don't come in here fasting with my stuff. And I said, I'll tell him, and I hire you from West Bay. You don't know about it. Here you is fasting. And my husband said he used to tell him, when they come in, we interview them. We give them the rules. We tell them what we expect out of one. And it's for them to prove it. If they prove it, they got to remain. And if they don't abide by the laws or whatever, find the door where the carpenter built. That's the type of person he was. And Mike Simmons tells my husband, one guy, and he's still there, and he loved Bill, I'm not call his name, but he loved Bill Ray to death. And he told him, if you could change him, you could change the world. And that boy was bad, because he tell us stuff that he used to do, and right now he's still up there. So that's the type of person my husband was. So they're not giving him nothing. If they come and fix my top to keep rain from wetting him up and fix my windows, because this house been built from 1985, and the windows that we got in it no longer exist. And the heat was crystallizing the rubber. My brother stuck them up with all kinds of glue and stuff when he was living. And all now we can't hear nothing. And they said, and then we went the other time and checked it, the application there, but the girl said that who in charge of that wasn't there. And all now we can't hear nothing about it. Then I mustn't be frustrated. But that's what I tell you. If you don't get nothing when they need the vote, forget it. After you like come, you not getting the vote because they forget you. Rain could come, but good thing I could swim. I learned to swim from time I was 2, and I don't think I get drowned too easy unless something hit me or corrupt we corrupt too strong in the cabin. But we could get drowned, mosquitoes could eat us, and then I worrying about us. That's the frustration that in the island. I buy in lot, friend. I don't pay. They could come put me in jail. I pay. I say, God, you know this. But give me a number that I could put $300 on it and get a $10,000. That's all we need to fix our house. So
what I'm getting from you, caller, and also Miss Romelia is saying, that the same thing is happening here. Some districts get attention and the rest nothing. At the same time, they are voting in the same don't care politician.
She's sure Robin with me, but I said I can't say. She says that she was on it too, and she had to go credit union and borrow. And I said, well, I even tell last week, but I wanted to tell her because we got a piece of land in the back, and I tell her, I say, at the time I want to try and get the 5,000 for the window. The top wasn't bad. And I said to her, after you turn 70 or 65, you don't want to lend you nothing. I said, and let me tell you, I'm sure that piece of property that I've on the back worth more than what I want to borrow from you. I said, because yes, they think that once you're old, you're going to die. I said, which that's something that nobody knows when we going to die. And then I even made the joke. I said, listen to me. Everybody telling me I come from long span. And none of my grandparents now they're on 90 odd. And I'm sure that would be paid off long before then. I said, but even if anything happened, and then I goes on I got a piece of land, and I'm sure that worth more than $5,000. I can't get nothing. And then she'll tell me when the book come in, I said, no, and I got this off. But then people tell me, keep their ass, keep calling them every day. But then, like I tell me, so me and her must be born under the same star. Me and her must be born. I just don't any human. Do you know how long Mr. Eden then was trying to get it for me? Because about what all it. I need stuff that only gets a couple of $1,000, but that's not in Cayman. But I need my stuff. That's what I tell you. You know how I was with my perfume thing. I can't, if I get one bottle now, I can't afford no more because I can't do it. And I'm a person that extravagant and try to fly my
Understood.
higher than I can hide. I would eat bread, fruit, and egg.
Understood.
But you don't have it in Poland, you know, crime. And then I can't work.
But it's fairness is what I'm hearing from you, and I'm hearing the same sentiment sharing, because we're talking about a budget. You want the budget to be shared across equally and not be politically aligned. You want everyone to get a fair share of the pie, is what I'm getting.
Let me tell you what a person from West. They tell me, yes, that's your children goes in that. But she said that the promise her talk, but she said yes. When the people get stuff, but they went and did more things than what I promised. It was supposed to be like top windows, and they belong bathroom, they belong kitchen, they built cabinet, they did this, they did that, they did X, Y, and Z, etc. for other people, and then some got none. They get everybody the whole head, and some now got none.
Well, that's where accountability comes in on the operational arm of government. Who is overseeing this?
I could bring people that can prove this is what went wrong and none of lies. Because I tell them I do a lie. A tongue, if I tell them lie, God could make my tongue go numb tonight that they do it again. And I have to drink his water. But this is where the frustration is.
I hear your pain.
And all now nobody not called me. And they keep telling me, call on, keep calling them. Everybody no plan about it. So they keep telling me, call on. I said, man, if I got this ass, because, and they say, they get sick of you. Because I say, what my mama had said about my dad. She said that he was chasing her to marry him, and she didn't like him. And she said she went to Castilla to he or something to get rid of him. She married him to get rid of him. So I have to say,
how you marry somebody to get rid of one, Michelle? But you got to tell me that one now.
Well, this is why I say that's a hell of a thing, Mommy. Say you marry him to get rid of him because he couldn't stop chasing you. I said, but you know, you stuck with him, and when he died, they were married for 55 years. But then, you know, you understand the terms are coming in that they're telling me keep bothering them, that they get sick, and then they're gonna eat a house. I said, but no, they could still ignore you. They don't have to gain nothing. They're not gonna get sick of calling them, but then they start blocking their phone or do answering it or whatever, so that don't make sense neither.
Well, leave me there with that one. I think the message is loud and clear, and I will forward the concerns.
So I need help. I got a leak right up, and I'll be had reading up today. I could show them it right up as it look. My sheet right to dropping right away standing.
Okay, Michelle. Good evening, caller. You're live on Sabrina Speaks. What's on your mind? Oops. We have that caller there. Let me try to call them back. Hold on. That's what I'm getting from the callers, is that people are saying, okay, they're doing a budget right now. Let's hope that it's no favoritism, that one particular constituency don't get a lot more, and other applications, and that people's applications, if they're for windows, that they get windows, that they don't get roof and windows, because then there's only a limited amount of money that can actually go around. Good evening, caller. Calling you back. You're live on Sabrina Speaks. What's on your mind?
Hi, Sabrina.
Hi.
MP KB here.
Oh, hi, MP. You caught me there for a minute because I'm doing about three things one same time.
I just want to say thank you so much for your conversation today. It's so important to educate and enlighten persons about what the process is like governing the country. We as MPs obviously take a lot of criticism, sometimes due to the lack of understanding of how the system works, particularly us as an overseas territory and our lack in power to control some of the civil service decisions. And it sounds, no matter what you do, once it comes from an MP, it sounds like you're trying to
or pointing the finger
at somebody else. And this example of what's happening in BVI goes to show that it happens in other overseas territories, because they have exactly the same structure. All overseas territories have a governor, and in their constitutions, they are the ones who are in charge of the civil service, and the political arm has no say or control over hiring, firing, remuneration, or anything else. And in any business that you have, if you don't have that control of the ability to keep a person doing the job appropriately, in balance, and efficiently, then you're subject to getting whatever they give you,
right?
Because you're not the person they answer to in their job. And we're starting to see the severity of how bad a culture like that can happen, where what BVI is going through now, where you get bad advice and people make major policy decisions on bad technical advice, and that's what they're there for, to advise you. And I want to make sure that my comments aren't about the whole of the civil service, but there are technical advisors to members of parliament. Bearing in mind, we're members of, the reason why they call them House of Commons is because you have common people who are selected by their peers to be their voice. And then you add the technical advice to it, whether it's the Attorney General to advise on the Constitution and the law, and you have kind of Jefferson advising you on the finances and where your balances are, and all these other advisors from the different ministries of health. You have the doctor, what's his name again, the medical advisor. He would advise you on that from a health perspective when you were a minister. These technocrats are the ones we take the advice and their professional guidance from. But when that goes wrong, nobody goes and nobody says, "Oh, it was them." They're not.
The blame
subject
falls
to,
on the minister, because the minister is the messenger, and you kill the messenger.
Correct. So sometimes it needs something to happen similarly to us happening in an overseas territory or somewhere else for
context,
for context, for people to understand. But this is not about politicians trying to get away from their responsibility. We have a flawed system, and it's starting to come out. And to be honest with you, I'm not trying to say this because of what transpired in the election, but there were some serious problems with the projections in that preview. And if persons had maybe have had a chance to listen to the Public Accounts Committee meeting recently, where the Auditor General did this report about financial sustainability and so forth. And one of the key problems that came up is the lack in projections accurately. And that projection was the lack of accuracy in projections was a key component to the decision by the finance minister to alter the legislation to extend the SBS. He said one of the reasons why they were extending it closer to the budget, because they couldn't rely on the data that was coming out of it.
And that's the current minister that's responsible for finance?
Correct. The Honorable Ralston Anglin. So they changed the law because they couldn't depend on the projections, but yet still many people depended on a preview report that suggested a deficit as gospel and as advice to where the country was at. And now we're getting conflicting information today to say first we were $60 million deficit. Now
break even. Later, now we got break even.
I mean, how does this happen in such a short period of time? I mean, no matter how much hire and freeze you do, you can't save $60 million in hire and freeze. And it goes to show that there's some funny business happening or some incompetence by those who are technically
But who holds them
hired to
accountable,
advise.
MP Brian?
But
Who
that's the
holds?
thing, we can't. The MPs can't. It's the governor. And the governor, under her remit or his remit, whoever, whether it's a male or female, they have a constitutional responsibility under good governance to hold them accountable, because projections of finances can make a cabinet make a decision on bad advice and could put the country in harm's way. You understand? If the technical advice is wrong. But naturally the politicians will always be to blame.
Because we're at the forefront. Kenneth, just to catch you in this train of thought, one commenter is asking, but Kenneth, how do we unflaw the system?
Well, the only way for that is constitutional reform. And the current overseas territory structure, I slightly doubt we'll ever get it, because that's the way the UK will always have control. Because when the UK has control of the service is what keeps the country going. So once they control that, they really have the power. I mean, a lot of people think that we have a true democracy. Until you are fully independent, you can't say that you are in control. I mean, I'm not suggesting independence. I'm just saying to you, the reality is, under the structure that we work with in the UK, that's not going to change. They're not going to give up that level of power. I mean, not even Bermuda, who has the best advancements in their constitution, still has a governor that they have to answer to. And matter of fact, any legislation that's passed, even if you think that it's passed in Parliament, it's technically not passed.
It has to be assented. Yeah, it has to be assented by the governor.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example. This is how severe it is. And I won't get into the details because it's gone and passed, and I don't want to open up a can of worms or open wound again. But I remember when I was in opposition, the very first time I got elected, and I brought this motion to Parliament about putting Caymanians at the top of office, chief officers, deputy chief officers, heads of department, and all that. There had to be Caymanian only. And I went to speak to the technocrats in the civil service, and I won't call any names, at least not for now, but it's public knowledge. But I was told outright, I don't care if you get it passed in Parliament. I'll just tell the governor not to assent to it, because we don't think that's what we don't think that we can introduce that now. And if you remember, Honorable Former Minister, that was some of the pushback when we wanted to put rollover for the civil servants. And we got so much pushback, but nobody's talking about that. And because, we don't want to create any more unnecessary.
You want the good relationship between the elected arm and the civil servants, aka
Correct.
the operational arm. So a lot of the times you don't really speak up, which is not helping the people that vote for you. Because when it goes bad, Kenneth, sorry, sir, when it goes bad, you're in the front line taking the firing squad, and you could lose your seat.
No doubt. And by no means am I afraid to call out the civil service. I think I do that.
Not to say that is needed in this context, but what we're saying, it's a delicate balance and it's a risky game.
Yeah, well, the other part to that too is this, and I think persons have probably heard about this before. You mess around with the civil service, they'll take your government out, and they can slow your government down. Your policies.
They can do that in your ministry.
That's true. Matter of fact, you have been exposed.
I'm a victim.
Probably most of that. You're a victim of that. So it goes back to the structure of things. When you are not the actual last say in the direction of their life, they always know, like, yeah, go ahead, beat around for 4 years. You'll be gone in 4 years, and we'll still be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there is. I'm not saying this. This is not at the entry level or middle management. This is big boy civil chief officer level types of approach that you hear, where you'll hear the whispers, because what they don't know is that we have supporters within the civil service and come back and they warn you, just take it easy, because if you piss off the chief officer or you do this, they'll slow things down or don't get things approved or what have you. So you have to have that delicate balance of working together, because you need them. And I'm not saying this is the case all the time, but
who ultimately suffers? Who ultimately suffers? The voters.
The people.
Yeah.
And so there's necessity to call it out. But that's why I called them to say, I thank you so much for edifying the public and educating them to that, so they know about where the problem truly lies. Whether, and I'm not saying that the civil service is the full fault. There's many politicians and governments that are contributed to where we are today, and they have to be fixed.
And
But the
remember
good news
now,
about them,
remember,
they
my
can be
friend,
sorted out.
remember, many a times the civil servants give them things to bring, and they don't bring it either, and we're left
That's
in the
true.
dark.
That's true.
And you
That is so true.
you cannot overstep another minister. The only one that can do that is the premier.
Sabrina, trust me, in the interest of trying to keep some good relationships between me and the government right now, please don't bring that up, because you and I both know, as Georgetown MP, we suffered so much. We didn't get what we needed for Georgetown.
Yep.
And then we got licked for it in the campaign about, well, what happened to Georgetown for this? What happened to Georgetown for that? When other things were happening in other districts. So I don't want to open that can of worms again.
No, but this is a real conversation. We have to put it into perspective. We're not setting up anybody. We're not just creating no conflicts between the sitting cabinet and you being in opposition. This is real truth that is being talked. And if people do not understand that if you were doing something in tourism and I did not like your pace, I couldn't table what was under your ministry on the floor of Parliament and get it through because you were dragging your foot. Like you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it to help.
You and I wanted to get some things done that we couldn't get done.
Correct, because we were not the ministers.
Correct.
And this is why forums like this, conversations like this, for context, as examples, we're going to have to use real life scenarios. That's the only how we're going to educate and let people get it, see it through the lens of what is real.
Yes, and I support you 100% on that, and that's why I called in.
And thank you.
Right. And this is my last words are, folks, I know sometimes it's overwhelming, maybe you don't fully understand it or it sounds boring, but the more you know how government run and how your parliament run, then you can see through the BS, because a lot of politicians are going to tell you whatever they want to tell you and makes them look good. But it's for you to be able to sift through it and see the truth for what it is and what isn't. And the best way to do that is to be as informed as you can. So, sometimes you have a little free time, go and watch the parliament, go watch the Public Accounts Committee, or you hear them referring to a piece of legislation, take a time and read the PDF, see what it says and decipher for yourself.
Take this message from Cameron, the most active student in the class today. Kenneth, don't butter up Sabrina to run again. This is her calling. This is her calling. All right, thank you so much. We got another call. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Cameron, you're something else, You are something else. Good evening, caller. You're live on Sabrina Speaks. What's on your mind?
Hi, Sabrina. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you.
Been waiting for your call.
You've been waiting on mine, you and plenty more.
I just wondered. Great show this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
It's very enlightening. Civil servants really don't know the power that they have. And if they were paying attention to what's going on around the world, they should look at what happened in Nepal recently. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, the youth took over and let them know they were tired of corruption. And a lot of us are tired of it as well, because a lot goes on that is not correct. Mm-hmm. Civil servants are kept down because of personal vendettas. Civil servants are used during working hours for a lot of personal crap that goes on. And then you have them looking at you and then want to talk down to you, want to do you wrong. Civil servants go through a lot, but at the end of the day, without them, they can't survive. Just look at what Treasury went through during Hurricane Ivan, and also putting the country back up when we were working in the airport hangar. The long hours that we had, trying to find out, because the minister and the chief officer was in Europe. That was Mr. Bastille and Mr. Roy. Mm-hmm. They were in Europe on a conference, so they weren't even here. So I had to do a lot of the work. The chief officer at the time was in Prospect Primer with 2 loads of clothes for 2 months. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I was running around doing a lot of the work. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something, Sabrina. Civil servants are the backbone of your country. Mm-hmm. And without them, as a civil servant, but I got 37 years under my belt. And let me tell you something, the crap that I have gone through. to make sure that everybody can survive and come through. We're not given enough credit. And what needs to happen, Sabrina, your show is a great show, but what needs to happen is, we have a lot of people running for election every 4 years, and then they just go on about their business and doing their own thing. But what needs to really happen is these same very people that ran, they know, just like your show tonight, why not have another meeting and say, let me inform my people. For instance, we had a meeting with the elderly people. I didn't get to go, but digital ID is here. Okay, it's coming in. Half of those people can't even use a computer. Okay, what are these people going to? Banks are telling us we no longer can do drafts over the counter, wires over the counter. You can't do none of that. Don't you think all of you that ran and spent people's money, don't you think it's fair time that all of you have some meetings and say, look, this is what's happening. Years when I was coming up and my parents were involved with the banks and committees that they were on, they had little meetings, and everybody that was running the country, they knew exactly who to go to for everything and what was happening. They were kept informed. Today, we get governments that come in here, which are young people, which are much more educated than them, have much more than they have, but they don't respect nobody. They're only hiding in the corners, and you don't hear anything until it gets leaked. And then you hear this one say this and this one say that. That's not right. You say you're for the people, have meetings and be honest. Let our people know what's about to happen to us. And we are in a danger zone. We got a bunch of people here that are not for us. They're not for Christianity. They're not for what we believe in. And it's a danger zone. And no one is standing up. Then why run? Why put your hat in the run and say that you care about your people when you're not so brave enough, bold enough, and honest enough to stand up and tell your people the truth? The cold, hard truth. We deserve that. You know why? Because my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my uncle that went to sea, that were veterans, but also sharpshooters, or what they would call today now, snipers for the army, they're all gone. They paved the way for us, Sabrina. They did everything for us. Okay? So it's not fair that we now, the offspring, are the ones now that are shut down, can't speak, can't say anything, and we must just take what people give us. That's not right. It's wrong, absolutely wrong. And what we should be having is a meeting in every one of the districts and letting our people know what's coming, what's happening, and what does this mean for us. Okay, it's not fair. It's really not fair. But with other civil servants, let me tell you something. They don't know the power that they have in their hand. Because I've said it before. I shut down when one boss of mine was going to be fired many years ago. Okay, I did that. And it was 5 of us that stood up for her. And that went straight to the governor and it was quashed, right? I've seen it happen in the Ministry of Education too on a different matter. And I can tell you, I've seen it happen in another department with 5 people coming and complaining. Listen, we keep everything pretty much down covered underneath the wraps. But there's coming a day when enough people are going to blow their tops and they're going to say what needs to be said. And it's not going to be nice. It is not right. Every one of our parents went to bed, made love to one another, brought their children into this world, raised them with respect, fought hard for them to give them a life. No one, when I say no one, that means governor, officials, politicians, no one has the right to take them and abuse them, whether they are 5, whether they're 15, whether they're 35, or whether they are 55 years old. No one has that power to do that. No has the right to do that. When you disrespect someone's child, you're disrespecting their lineage, their mother, their father, and their grandparents. You go down the line. And when you have to go through all of that and you have to stand up, then you are the bad person. It's not right. It is not right. I got respect for you, but when you start going down the road and you think that it's okay for you to do children's that is working in the civil service, it's not right. So I just want to say, Sabrina, thank you. It was a wonderful show this afternoon, but civil servants need to wake up because they're going to be the ones, and they don't understand the power that they have. They are the power of a country.
But caller, before you go, please, how do you make that into a level balance? Because at no point, and just for context, were we using the examples given that we're saying they're bad, but in the context of preparing for the topic of this show, of holding them accountable for bad performance, underperformance, no performance, or outright blatantly.
It starts from the top.
Exactly.
Because
We just hear. I wanted to make sure that the context was given.
It's not, no, I know. And you talked to a civil servant that worked from 1983. James Manoa Barton back till a few years ago. So let me tell you, you have to start from the top. If we, let's make this for instance, since we're on the top of the show. Have you ever seen a report given to say our deputy governor, there's a lot of complaints on him, let us publish what his evaluation report was like? Have you ever seen one? Okay, I haven't. I haven't, but I can tell you this. In the older days when I worked and you messed up, let me tell you something. They didn't throw you out with the bathwater. No, but they reprimanded you. You could lose a couple of months' salary. Okay, you could be shipped around. Right? Some of us do need to be fired for some of the crap that they carry on with, because no one deserves to have anybody insulting somebody, cursing at somebody, making lies up on somebody, doing wrong, and all the other stuff that I don't even want to go down the darker roads that I know. There's so much that happens. You know, you have to keep your nose shut, your eyes closed, and everything else. Right. But the bottom line is none of that. Because when you make a report to that governor and the deputy governor, action should be done. And I said it on the Cayman Road earlier. Had we had our deputy governor create a balance where we had the portfolio of civil service and members of the public, psychiatrists, clinical psychiatrists, and also HR managers and supervisors, but not just somebody that just come out of college and just have a degree. You want people like also lawyers that in good in this field that are on Forbes 500 Forbes magazine that actually have cases that they have resolved because of the same type of cases that we are bringing forward. Okay. How do you prove and go up against a politician when a politician is bullying you and no one will come forward? Your HR department doesn't do anything about it and was told don't do anything about it. How do you do that? You have to then hire an attorney and you have to go down there. And guess what? Who it falls on? It comes right back to the DG's office. And here again, he's had many and many and many complaints. I'm not barking, I'm not tearing at him. But what I'm saying is he should have had that team under him to come and say, let us evaluate, let us investigate, let us hear from the right side, the wrong side, the north and the south, because everybody deserves respect. Yeah. Everybody deserves respect and fairness, Sabrina. Everybody deserves that. Our parents did not bring us here to become slaves. We have already went through that. We've got over 2.5 million bodies lying over across the Atlantic that came off on slave ships, and many more that we do not know, and many that have been murdered all through the Caribbean and everywhere else just because of the color of their skin. I've seen what happened to Anna's children and her family because of the color of their skin. The color of their skin. And because they're uneducated and Black people. I've seen what happened to that family. And I fought, I put my neck, I put my whole body out for it, and I will continue to fight for them because they deserve it. They deserve it. They are Black like me. They are poor like me. And guess what? There were people that used to come to my family's house, their ancestors. Everybody used to come to Shed Road and come to my mother's herb garden where she had dash along and fever grass and green mint and Jamaica mint and the Cayman mint and everything else. We all shared on Shed Road, okay? And let me tell you, I remember your grandparents and stuff being around the corner, your grandma and stuff around the corner, right around by the police station and different things like that. So they were all friends. They always chatted. They always respected one another.
Each other.
We have gone from all of that, Sabrina. We think we can take children's lives because you get in that spot. But if they only know what I know, that same very seat that they're sitting in, it's a seat that can come and go as quick as they've gotten in.
Did you listen to yesterday's show? Did you listen to?
No,
Okay.
No, I didn't get a chance to, but I'm going to go back and listen to it because you had an open mic and I was.
The closing monologue says it all.
All right, beautiful. But Sabrina, let me tell you, we don't have evaluations from the top. And because we don't have that, that's why chief officers get away with all of the filth and nastiness they get through and they go through. And they can get away with it. And when they can get away with it, then other people believe they can get away with it too. And they're not going to get away with it. They are the ones that then get trampled on. See, let me tell you something. I'm not afraid to tell people anything I have said. And many comments have not been positive. But they only came out of my mouth when I had to address and protect myself.
Right.
Because anybody that know me, they come to my desk to eat candies. They come to my desk to get chips. They came to my desk to help me with them, to save someone's life or to help with their children, to pick up this or to do that during working hours, and to shut my mouth and to cover a lot of things up. I did, just like any other civil servants that have gone through it, and many others. But when it came to what I needed to do and I needed their help, they walked out the door, they forgot that I was human, and then they wanted to destroy me and tear people down. And I saw it happen with 28 Caymanians. 28. I've got yet to see a report from our DG or the governor saying, we need to know what happened right here in this office. And because we have not, like Kenneth said, we've got to address the Constitution where we make political leaders be held accountable for their actions while they're serving. Until that happened again, Sabrina, Lisa not coming. Lisa is not going to another voting booth.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going to another voting booth.
That hurts. You know why? And it hits
You know
home
why?
because so much people are saying the same thing.
You know why? Because I am a victim. And I can tell you the things that you are going to see in my book of how I went out on the limb for politicians. And then those same politicians spat in my face and pretended that I was the problem. Guess what? Why? Because I grew up. I wasn't a little girl anymore. And I grew up. And because I became an adult and I started to defend myself, and listen, when I defended myself, my mother and father were no longer alive. Let me tell you something. If Val Anderson, Mr. Val Anderson, my godfather, and his sister, Miss Ariel, my godmother, my father and mother, Vincent and Joyce, let me tell you something, the shit that I went through, they wouldn't try it. They wouldn't have tried it. They wouldn't have tried that. But I'm going to tell you, this is what they do to people that are orphans like me, especially orphans, because we have no one to speak up for us. I've got 3 sisters and a brother, yes, and many nieces and nephews. But because they do not know how to do this, civil servants, like I told them, they need to get together, stand together, get an attorney and fight. Because without that, they will never get justice. Justice was made for all.
Do our people even know what a class action lawsuit is?
No, but this is what I'm saying. Sabrina, this is what I'm saying to you, honey.
Yeah, you don't need millions for a class action.
I don't even know what your plans are in your life, but you're younger than me. And what I want to say to you is because I have health issues. I have a heart murmur, as you know. I grew up born with that, with rheumatic fever when I was little. But with a heart murmur, okay, with the injuries that I sustained while working and going overboard for politician and chief officers, which I don't want to call names. But anyway, after going through all of that and still fighting all of the things that I'm going through, that's fine. What I want to say to you is, Sabrina, Knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm.
We have lost so many of our people, and everybody only looking about what the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers have done, the dollar sign, but only if they know. I've seen so many millionaires go down, and my mother dressed a couple of them, okay? And they didn't have no hearse, and they couldn't fill up nothing down in that table. And you know what happens eventually? When they're gone, some ass will marry their daughter and use all that money up. And somebody will marry their son. Because guess what? Mommy and dad is no longer in charge. It's the children. What you sow, you must reap. And when you think you can destroy people's families and it isn't going to come back to yours, it's going to come back to yours. Okay? So all I'm saying to you is that I would love to see women like you and myself and Catherine and many others join, and let's talk to the few little Caymanians that we have left, especially the middle-aged and the elderly people, because they have no idea how dangerous Cayman has become and has gotten in the last couple of years. They have no idea. You've got several civil servants that is gone now in a very, very suspicious circumstances. And 4 of them are women. Dr. Ashley was a man, okay? Someone that held a PhD in chemistry and physics. Nah, that was no accident. No accident. Okay? But all of this to say, it is so sad this is where we have become from where we all started from. Where we all started from, Sabrina. Okay? We all, especially on Shed Road, we all looked out for one another. People could walk up to me and say, make sure you're going home now, or I'll tell Mr. Vincent or Miss Joyce. People could come to your mom and say the same thing. Okay, if Sabrina, make sure Sabrina. No, it was done.
But
we
if
looked
you
at it. Really
if
was,
you
it
do
really
that
was a
now,
village.
if you do that now, some of those children will tell you about your CANES-PRE.
Listen, I had a couple of calls on the weekend, and someone was crying to me saying that a grandmother was being abused by their very own children, or a grandson, I believe. And they had actually reported to the police, and the police has done nothing about it. Sabrina, when we have become that low, that the police will say this is a domesticated matter, but the elderly don't have a voice anymore. When we say that we are here to protect and serve, that's bad. I don't care if you're the grandchild. I don't care if you're the adopted child.
Abuse is
when
abuse.
You touch,
and there are laws to protect them.
And there's laws to protect
and we have
you.
advocates.
And
yes.
Not only that, you as the police department, you're getting a fat salary. Many of you are foreign nationals that have come here. We have been kind to you. We have given you house. We have given you houses. We've given you cars. We've given you money. We give you prestige. We give you actual promotions. But you don't have the right now, or you don't believe that you should give back. Because if this is what we have, we need to do what Trump was doing. Load up the planes. Load up the planes, because we have enough of our own coming up. We still have enough young children that are born Caymanians 6, 7 generations back. And we need to have the island needs to have them. They are ours. We didn't import them. They're our own. And we should be protecting this country for them.
Ms. Romelli is saying you need a kaboom. I don't know for what part.
She works a lot with the elderly.
Exactly.
And I want to applaud her. And Sabrina, I don't know your email or anything anymore, but
it's
I would like
here.
for
it's
you.
On the screen, Lisa.
Okay,
it's on the screen.
I would like for you and I to actually write in so that she can have an award, because the work that she has done, she must be commended for it. She must be commended for it, because nobody wants to deal with the old people in Pampers anymore and to take them out or to do anything. And hardly anybody wants to do that anymore. No, you won't see anybody take a vacation and they got their grandmother that has to have a colostomy bag or have something hooked up to them, oxygen stuff. No, you won't see that. You won't see that. You have the maid. You may have the maid going with them or some other person going with them. And that's what we think of our people. During Hurricane Ivan, my mother in the hospital told me for her 93-year-old great grand aunt, Eula Reed from the BRAC, had lost her house in Prospect. She told me very clearly, I had to help her. I didn't know she was going to die 2 weeks later, where nobody actually showed up for me. All the people that she had, did so much and held up for, nobody was there for me. But I will say she had one of the largest funerals I had ever been to, because I did 1,500 programs and everybody was there. We had people standing up all over Chapel Church. And I will say she was represented by people remembering the hands that she fed and the things that she did. So I am rest assured that whatever God decides to do, I'm quite comfortable with it for my mom. But Mommy told me I had to do that house over. And that woman had lots of nieces and nephews. No one built that house back but me. We got a grant for $15,000 from the Hurricane Committee. We civil servants were given $3,000 without interest from the credit union. I borrowed that loan. And then when my house had only slight damage for the hurricane, thank God, I only had some guttering off and some of that synthetic stuff that's on the side. Can't remember what's it called right now. It wasn't wood. I had some of that other plastic stuff there. It fell out.
Oh, the siding.
Yeah. So that's basically all I had, the damage that I had. But whenever the insurance took care of it, then I went to Miami and got her all her appliances and her forks and her everything, all cutlery, everything back. And I'm saying this, Sabrina, Agula was such a beautiful person, but my mom commanded me. I was not her niece or nephew. I am her great grand niece. But I made sure that 93-year-old woman got back in her home, because I used a lot of the contractors that worked on my house who came and did everything. Her whole house had to be rewired. And the guy that did that was the electrician that did my house. And I'm just saying this. That is how we should be living, Sabrina. But we all believe we can carry the houses and all the money in the bank. We believe that, we really believe that. I got news to tell them. Rothschilds, Rockefellers, every one of them, they ain't taking anything back with them.
They did.
And not only did, but they're not taking it back with them. And let me tell you, all of the countries that went to Africa and around the world raping, stealing, and taking everything that they can take, their day is here for the awakening. Look at what is happening in the UK. I want you to see which mayors are running the UK, what nationality or religion they are. You will know where Cayman is heading. And I'm telling you, unless we are willing, all of these people that run, stand up and let's start telling our people what's happening so that we will have our army to fight. I'm sorry for us.
Well, this is a platform I intend, and again, I said it yesterday. If you look at yesterday's show, the topics are strategic because it will all make sense at the end of the day. It may not make sense now, but it will make sense at the end of the day. And there will be topics that will almost appear. Well, she talked about that again. No, it will be a change. Because now you are ripe. You are prepared to be able, because you already got part one. And something that was said in a previous episode would make sense. But now I'm putting another layer on it. And then eventually you'd be like, oh my goodness, it all makes sense. But go ahead.
Thank you. Can you imagine middle-aged people, the 60s and 70s, especially civil servants or others now, where they don't know much about a computer these days. And of course, now they have all the ailments coming up. And for them now, if they got a grandchild or grandson over, that is away at school, and they want to send a couple of dollars, for their birthday or whatever, they can't even now go in and say, I want to, wire this to my grandson or my granddaughter. No, the banks are going to tell you, oh no, you have to go online and do all of this stuff. And suppose they don't have any children left, but they don't, their child is away somewhere and they want to have that granddaughter or grandson, they still want to do something for. You imagine we have got that much, that's how low our respect is now for our people, that we have not thought of doing something. You know what it is? It's called being followers. Cayman was not followers. We led. Everybody wanted to come here to vacation. Everybody wanted to come here to dive. And everybody wanted to come here to do business because of what King what George did many, many years ago. We're
Mhm.
tax haven, okay? Hide their monies and do whatever else they wanted to do, okay? But to know that our people now cannot be treated with the respect they deserve, and we're here following up the Rothschilds and everyone, all the
In
darkness
dignity,
that they
with
want to
dignity, with dignity,
Huh?
with
do. We're
dignity.
following instead of being leaders and saying no. I want to know. I want to know why Barbados actually borrowed from Saudi Arabia and
That's
not
another
Britain.
show. And Barbados, that's another show.
Oh, baby.
But we're
Baby,
remember,
baby,
hold
baby.
on, stick a pin. Remember, every time on this forum that I have brought up CARICOM, this jurisdiction
Ah.
is an associate
Ah.
member.
Ah.
All you can hear, no, we don't want to be, but yet we're not even at the table in many things.
Not only that,
Hold on.
we don't want to mix with the niggers. I mean, let me be clear with you.
Well, I'm glad you
we don't
said
want
it.
to. We don't want to mix with the niggers. We rather mix with the Rothschilds, okay, and all the crap and everything that all of them that are doing overseas, kings and queens. But let me tell you this: at least not even no kings and queens. I'm gonna stay with the niggers.
Well, I can
whether
be
they
honest
like me
with
or
you.
not. And hold on, and this is what I want to tell you: say what you want about Jamaica. Say what you want. But when Jamaica sit at the table to make a deal, they're not just breaking even, they're always coming up with a profit. We haven't learned that yet. That's why we're still followers and not leaders. Say what you want about Jamaica. Andrew Holness and his whole team may be doing a lot of their and under the table doing whatever. But let me tell you thing, they got a bunch of people there that will not think twice to light them up and to burn that place if they don't do something more for those people.
But
and it's coming.
It's a delicate
People
balance,
always,
though.
it's coming.
It's a delicate balance.
Exactly. But let me tell you something. But I must take my hat off to Miss Barbados. Oh, yes. Because even if she's just saying it and I don't know what's really happening under the table, that woman has stood for her people. That's the kind of leader that we need to be able to speak up. And whether you're black or white, you take it or you leave it. That's the leaders that we need. We don't need these that hiding and we don't have no meetings. We're not telling you until it's done and it's put on black and white and paper. We don't need that. That's far away. We don't need that at all. We need leaders that are going to speak up and make sure that the Caymanians, the few of us that run to them polls and help, you're going to respect us and help us with dignity and respect. Because that's what is lacking.
I'm going to ask you to leave me there. We're in overtime, but
Take
thank you so much. And I intend to do a number of shows, one on the ID and the other one is as well, because it's funny you said Barbados, because it's controversial over there because their law says one thing and she's saying something else, but yet the terrain says if you do not have this digital ID, you can't vote, you can't you can't license your car. But hold on,
control. That's the whole ball game. To control and put us in the slave ships that we were already in so many years ago.
But this is why
would we want to do that?
But this is why then, even if it is a good idea to streamline certain things, you can't put something in legislation and say something else. And I'll allow you to lead me there because there will be a show on that.
But I thank you very much. But let me tell you this. We got enough IDs. You got the hospital, got a number for us. Our passport got numbers for us. We also got numbers on our driver's license. That's enough numbers. We don't need anything else.
Gotcha.
Stop being followers and the leaders.
Are you using a smartphone?
Thank you, darling.
Are you using a smartphone?
No.
You're not using you don't use a smartphone? Can you get emails? Can you get emails on your phone?
Yes, I can. Yes,
and you can tap into social media?
Yes.
That's a digital ID. I'm going to leave you right there. Think about it.
Of course. Yeah, that's also that too. We know that.
Okay.
But I got one of the old ones, not the new one.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right, honey. Take care.
My love. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I can see that is an excellent segue into that show. And I have been promising you this about 2, if not 3 weeks, a little bit longer. And we are going to have a show on that, but I have to make sure that I am comfortable with the information, because it's one thing coming here, me, you, and the mic. I don't just come here and flap my mouth. I have been looking at that. I have been paying very close attention to Jamaica. I have been paying very close attention to the CARICOM full member states as well, and how they're aligning. But there's more to that. And that is why Sabrina Speaks is Voices of the Islands. We're Voices of the Islands and Conversations for the World. This isn't just a 345 platform. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. Regional pays attention to this space. They actually support this space. And we have gotten credit for having some of the very same candid discussions from our brothers and sisters in the region. And I am hungry to one day confirm a guest to really give us a picture as to how, as an associate member, and the reason why we're not a full state member of CARICOM, whether you're for or against it, and I'm not supporting or against, I am just here sharing information. I'm just giving you food for thought. The mere fact that we are not full member states of CARICOM is because we are still a British overseas territory jurisdiction. These jurisdictions, once you're a BOTC, it is not given full membership around the table. It is for those Caribbean, small island development states, as we are called, are only given to independent, those who are not a part of the UK. But they're actually aligning quite well. The mere fact of the Cayman Islands' proximity in the Caribbean, because we are a part of the Americas, we are associate members. And there are a lot of meetings that are being had. And many a times, some of our other BOTC territories are attending those meetings, and they're looking for the Cayman Islands around the table, and we are nowhere to be seen. The Cayman Islands may not actually get into some of the bigger meetings, because I said there are 2 tranches. Associate member states for those who are still there because of proximity, and we are small development states. And then you have the full members like Barbados, like Jamaica, and there are others, Trinidad and that sort of stuff. They get a lot more benefits, but that's because they're not a BOTC. You may have heard as well that one of the things the Most Honorable Andrew Holness said in his speech of his swearing in of being the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and I have no skin in the game, I don't play politics, I'm on neither PNP, JLP, but I follow it because of the sake of this and being very versed in topical conversation and current events. He's actually asking for support from the leader of the opposition for them to finish the work that they've started to become the Republic of Jamaica. Now, what does that mean? I can break that down in another show. But I want to thank you all for joining me for this edition of Sabrina Speaks right here this evening. Benji, hi, how are you? You're late. Thank you so much. Cameron, can call on apology, madam, as long as your voice gets across. Can call analog. Oh, okay, analog. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, but Cameron has been very active today, and thank you for all of you who joined us even after we started. Today's edition of Sabrina Speaks was talking about the budget. We know that our government, our cabinet right now is in the process of doing a budget, and pretty much who's it for? What is the foundation of it was pretty much what I wanted to delve into. Thursday will be Finance Committee meeting, and this is an opportunity for the opposition to actually question members of the operational arm of government, the civil service servants, in regards to finances and how things are being going. They're the gatekeepers and asking the questions of your money. And if you notice from the last Finance Committee meeting, there were some questions pertaining to health. I got thrown under the bus too a little bit, but that's okay. I'm not their problem now, to be honest. And with what has happened in the British Virgin Islands with an error being made that is $20 million. For context of this show, because it aligned with the topic, could that happen here? Understanding how much your elected arm relies on the civil servants for their expertise, what advice they give them, what happens if they get it wrong. You, the voting public, can vote out an MP who lets or allows heads to roll for huge mistakes or bad information or just no accountability when huge errors are made. And I want to thank, we had some callers that called in. We also spoke in regards to making sure that it's fair and balanced and that the money is spread equally apart. Some of the older persons and persons needing their houses repairs, that they have been on overdue and long waited lists. I have actually shared some of these concerns with some of the powers that be as we speak while we were live. And they are actually now trying to finalize the budget to make sure that they can direct some of these funds to address some of these outstanding applications. But you, the people, whose money they are actually now trying to divvy up and give to the various ministries and departments to ultimately, hopefully, reach you and make your quality of life for our country, and making sure that we run a country that is balanced and fair and still treat people with dignity. And they're there now making sure that they can prioritize and making sure that we can't write checks that we can't pay. But that doesn't mean that your voices does not matter. And what was also highlighted is that in past, it was noticed that some constituencies, some districts appears to get more attention than others. And they're hoping that this budget will not be off balance based on what political party you're with, who is the minister for housing, that it's fair and that everyone is treated equally, bearing in mind that when you are a minister, and there are 8 ministers in cabinet, it does not matter whose platform you stood on, what color you wore. When you are a minister, the campaign is over. You have a constitutional responsibility serving as an elected member of parliament, as a cabinet minister serving at the pleasure of the premier and supported by Her Excellency, in this case, the governor, to serve the people of the Cayman Islands. It didn't say the TCCP people. It didn't say the progressives people. It didn't say the Cayman National, what is CINP, Cayman National Party, the CINP, the purple ones. It didn't say them. That all removed. It's removed. You are serving the people of the Cayman Islands. And if this space is the one to educate you, to encourage you to tune into these meetings, to reach out, to ask the right questions, should some of these questions really be at the top of your mind? Really, how inclusive will this budget be? Is it sustainable? Who will be first? What will be the foundation of this budget? Or is this budget just numbers? Is it a mirror? Will it reflect who we value, what we protect, and how we plan for tomorrow? This is the last call. Good evening, caller. You're live.
Sorry, wrong number, Sabrina. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, honey.
So I implore you, please, to ask the hard questions, demand clarity, and remember, silence in this case is very expensive. But I could play one more little video for you because Heroes Day is coming before I do my closing wrap up. Please bear with me.
The Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage is pleased to announce that the nominations for the 2026 National Recognition Awards are now open. Nominate individuals and groups who played a key role in developing the Cayman Islands' physical infrastructure. The categories include landmark leaders, infrastructure innovators, and the builders of Cayman. Visit gov.ky/YSCH. Click on the Nominate button to make a nomination. Here is a step-by-step guide to fill out the form. Before starting, please read the instructions, the award categories, and the eligibility criteria. Step 1. Enter your personal information and select the award category for the person or group you are nominating. Click Yes to confirm that your nominee meets the criteria. Step 2. Enter the nominee's full name, date of birth, and district. Indicate their current status, whether living or deceased, and ensure you have the current contact information for your nominee and their next of kin. Fill out the submission detail and provide any supporting documents and a reference to support your nomination. Step 3. Review your submission and make any changes by clicking the previous button. When you are ready, confirm and agree to the terms and click Submit Form to make your nomination. A thank you notice will confirm that the nomination was received and a copy of the application will be sent to your email. Your nomination will be reviewed and considered by the National Recognition Awards Committee, and only successful nominees will be contacted and recognized at next year's National Heroes Day ceremony. The deadline to make a nomination is October 15. Remember, you can submit multiple nominations or browse our frequently asked questions by visiting the National Recognition Awards tab at gov.ky/YSCH. We look forward to receiving your nomination.
And that's why your voice matters. And for everyone in that category, there's a reason for playing that video. You have to do it. We don't want to hear on Heroes Day that this person was overlooked or they were forgotten. Your voice matters. And in this case, your nomination matters. But as I wind up today's show, I want to thank everyone and I want to wish you a beautiful night. And, you know, I want to leave you with this, though, because it is food for thought. You do not understand how powerful your voice is, how impactful your questions are. And your future depends on exactly what happens in that room as they're preparing for this budget. That room, or let me rephrase this, there's a room in this country where decisions are made quietly, sometimes a little noisy, formally, and sometimes without fanfare. And it includes the Veracene Finance Committee, its caucus, it's the cabinet, and also many a times it's the operational arm of government. And in that room, numbers are moved, budgets are ultimately approved, and futures are then shaped. But there's the truth. The weight of that room, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't rest solely on the shoulders of your elected arm. And I'm hoping, based on today's discussion, that became a takeaway. It rests on the civil servants who prepare the numbers, on the politicians who sign off on them. Let me repeat what I said first. The weight of that room doesn't rest solely on the shoulders of the elected. It rests on the civil servants who prepares the numbers, on the politicians who sign off, and on the people, especially those with access, influence, and voice, who choose whether to pay attention or just look away.
You heard me today say about the 20 million, even though it's not the Cayman Islands. Because when a 20 million error happens in the BVI, it's not just a miscalculation. It can result in a breach of trust. And when Cayman prepares a 2-year budget with questionable forecasting, shifting of priorities, and what appears sometimes to be vague promises, we must ask, who is the budget for? Is it for the haves or the have-nots? For the politically connected? Or the quality, or those who are quietly struggling? Is it inclusive or is it convenient? And most importantly, is it sustainable? Because if it's not, we all pay. So today, please allow me to speak to 3 groups. First of all, the civil servants. You are the backbone of this country. It was confirmed by a caller, Miss Lisa. You are the stewards of data, the architects of policy, the quiet hands behind the scenes. But with that power comes responsibility. Accuracy, in this case, is not optional. Transparency is not negotiable. And silence, when you know better, is complicit. And you're not shielded from accountability. You are central to it. And to my colleagues and friends, the elected politicians, you are chosen to lead, not to perform, not to protect party lines, but to protect the very same people who've entrusted you to serve. Ask the hard questions, demand full context, and remember, your legacy is not in the headlines, it's in the lives you impact. If you don't understand the numbers, then say so. If you see injustice, speak up. Because the people are watching, and they're not as quiet as they used to be. And to the people, especially those who feel they're marginalized. To those who are told to have to wait your turn. To those whose voices have been softened, whose stories have been sidelined, whose presence has been politicized, I want to leave this for you. You are not invisible. You are not voiceless. You are not a footnote in someone else's budget. Whether you are a Caymanian struggling to find work, a single mother navigating broken systems, a migrant worker building this country's backbone, or an elder whose wisdom is ignored, you deserve more than survival. You deserve representation. You deserve equity. You deserve to be part of the conversation, not just when it's convenient, but always. And while the system may not have been built with you in mind, it cannot move forward without you, So I want to implore you to speak, to organize, and to ask questions. Because the budget isn't just about numbers. It's about dignity. And Cayman cannot claim progress while leaving its most vulnerable behind. You are not asking for favors, You're not even asking for fairness. And that is not radical. It's righteous. So, let this be a turning point.
Let this be the moment we stop treating governance like a theater and start treating it like the sacred trust it is, because the weight of the room is heavy, and that belongs to all of us. I want to thank you for tuning in again. And if today's episode sparked a question or concern or a conversation, by all means, share it. Tag us, email me, or you can make sure you can reach a politician, because when we speak, leaders listen. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, please be safe. Please don't give up faith. Don't lose hope. Stay engaged and stay empowered. Until tomorrow, have a wonderful evening. God bless.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.